Frontman of indie rock band Frightened Rabbit and talented Scottish musician Scott Hutchison died on the 10th of May 2018 after a long battle with mental health. His body was discovered on the banks of the Firth of Forth where the River Forth meets the North Sea. In Scotland alone, 20% of adults have reported at least one symptom of depression and 12% have reported 2 or more symptoms of anxiety. But when it comes to musicians, 71% have experienced high levels of anxiety and panic attacks, with 68% experiencing depression. So why are musicians suffering more than the rest of us?
Well, I'm Craig Russell Horn. I'm an alternative electronic producer and musician. What we do as musicians is we work in a rejection business. For a start, it's a lot of people telling you like no, like not massively big on that project. I'm not massive on your sound. I don't think it fits the lineup. I don't think it fits this. More often than not, what you're actually doing is you're writing about the stuff that comes from you, and when you lay that on a plate and say, this is the stuff that I've got to offer the world, this is the stuff that I've got to offer from myself, this is the best representation of myself. When you put that on a plate and then somebody tells you no, that's an extremely difficult thing for a lot of people to deal with. A lot of people don't feel rejection in their life in such a big and such a profound way. I mean, anyone that's worked with me has seen me before a show, especially you, Blair, as well. You've seen me before a show, you've seen me work it, you've seen me that I'm trying to calm nerves, and even though I've done it 100 times before, it does always sit there. And obviously you need to be sympathetic to what people are thinking at that time. And see, before a show, there isn't an awful lot of support there. You know, acts will try to go, okay, you'll be fine, you'll be, listen, we heard you in sound check, you were amazing, you were brilliant. Especially from promoters and stuff like that. I've never seen a promoter come in and say, listen man, we booked you for this reason, because you were brilliant. We seen you do your sound check, you sounded absolutely incredible there as well, you'll be fine doing the show. Like, I love you, the other acts love you, you'll be great when you go and do that. I've never ever seen that from anyone from a corporate or a company based position. The industry, I don't think, sympathises with people who are selling their art for whatever reason that might be. I think that they are sympathising with them as in people are connecting with this art and the amount of people that connect with this art. So if people connect with somebody like Scott Hutchison that writes about depression, I think that most promoters will sit there and think, well, there's a lot of people that connect with this, that means I'm going to get an awful lot of ticket sales, as opposed to somebody who's sat there going, I think this guy needs help.
Scott Hutchison was born in the town of Selkirk on the Scottish borders in 1981. Described as a shy child, his mother nicknamed him Frightened Rabbit, which, in 2003, became the name of his solo music project in Glasgow. In the years to follow, his brother Grant joined him on drums to release the debut album Sing the Grace, and after the introduction of 2 more guitarists, the 4-piece released their sophomore, critically acclaimed album The Midnight Organ Fight.
The cripple walks amongst you, all you tired human beings. And he's got all the things a cripple has not, 2 working arms and legs. Vital parts fall from his system and dissolve in Scottish rain. But vitally he doesn't miss them, he's too fucked up to care. Is that you in front of me? Coming back for even more, be exactly the same. You must be a masochist. You love a modern leper in his last leg on his lap.
So, is mental health something the public should be thinking about?
My name's Blair. I'm a student from Glasgow, Scotland. I've never really thought about if musicians need help, because it's one of those things that if they're already out there talking about it and they've gone through songwriting process and they've been in recording studios and record labels, a lot of people have heard that song before we've heard it. So to be honest, somebody along the way would have spoke to them and made sure they were okay and really tried to make sure that artist was feeling okay. I've never really thought about whether we as the fans listening to music need to think about them, and it's just not really something that's came to mind. They might be up on a pedestal in terms of they're a bit more famous, they're more well known, and they get recognised a lot, but they are people as well. They're people who are struggling just like the fans are, and they've, 2-3 years earlier, they were probably in the exact same position that those fans are, where nobody knew them and they were struggling and trying to make it. So it's a hard one when you say, could the fans do something for the artists? I think maybe we need to look at everyone in one, it's almost like a spectrum. Look at every single person, because everyone's somewhere along the line of trying to deal with things or having to deal with things. It's not really something I think about. I just like the honesty when it comes to songwriting in that way. The words that they're singing, it's something that I can personally connect to, and I can almost feel like I'm applying it to my own life, and I know a lot of other people tend to do that as well. When you compare it to some of the songs that you hear in the mainstream music and in the charts, there's nothing that can quite compare to a song that really can connect with human emotions.
If people ever talk to me about like suicidal thoughts and they talk about what got you into a depressive state, the first thing that I would always say is I have no fucking idea. I have zero idea. Listen, out with that, it's the human experience. The human experience throws up depression and all that. Depression and feeling like this, that is the main part that people really need to get across. It's just a part of life. It's just a part of something that you go through, right? Now, see, when it starts getting serious, that's where you need to start reaching out to people. That's where you need to start doing all this kind of stuff. And I felt like that with the latest album that I released, that I'd done that, but I'd done that to try and find solace within myself. I always said that With the Absence of Light was the album that I was always going to make. It was always going to be called With the Absence of Light, and all the subject matters that came in that album were always going to be there. At the end of the day, it didn't. It just came from. That's where it came from inside me. I wish I had a better answer for that. I wish I had a better answer to say, no, this is where my depressive thoughts came from. But actually, I always feel as if that's in terms where depression comes from. Nobody has any idea where it comes from. It's just something that creeps up in the back of you. You don't know where it came from. You don't know why it came from. Listen, if you end up with fucking diabetes, you end up with all these different disorders. You can always go, oh shit, I know where that came from. Do you know what I mean? Somebody who ends up with like a sexual transmitted disease, oh shit, I know where that came from. But when it comes to something like mental health, nobody has any idea where it comes from. Do you know what I mean? And that's the overarching thing of it. It does just creep up on you. And when you're someone who's a creative, you're making the whole situation worse. Because what you're doing is you're now trying to take that and try and explain it to people. You're trying to explain why I'm feeling like that. And I'm now trying to present it to you in a package of an hour-long album or a half an hour-long EP. I can give you a rationale of why these things happen. I couldn't explain it to you in a sense that you'll go, oh yeah, I feel that too. And that is where, when it comes to music, for some reason, I can create it, and now you understand what I'm saying. I can't do that with my words, but I can do that in my creativity. There's the relationship that a lot of people in music have, I feel, anyway. We might not be able to explain to people and talk to people about how this is affecting us. But when it comes to a creative sense, when you hear a certain chord, you hear a certain BPM, you hear a certain feeling in a song, just all of a sudden it all comes out. you're able to explain all this stuff. How's that?
Scott Hutchison was a powerful creative in the Scottish music scene, and the influence of Frightened Rabbit was felt for many years across 5 studio albums, sold-out tours and multiple festival appearances. The news of Scott's tragic passing was felt across the country, with tributes pouring in from celebrities, musicians and thousands upon thousands of fans worldwide. So many with happy memories of Scott, even more who were moved by his words. A year on from his passing, Scott's family started the mental health charity Tiny Changes, inspired by Hutchison's own words. The driving objective focusing on mental health in young people and helping them to understand their problems. An everlasting legacy which truly will help Scott make tiny changes to the earth.
Mark my words, I'll make changes to earth. While I'm alive, I'll make tiny changes to earth. Tiny changes to earth. Tiny changes to earth. Tiny changes to earth.
Far from the electric floor, removed from the red meat market, I look for a fire door, and escape from the drums and barking, bereft of all social charms. Struck dumb by the hand of fear, I fall into the corner's arms, the same way that I've done for